Testing. Testing now. We back. We're back and we're here in Exodus. Epic. Epic news. Um I'm Zach, if you didn't know. I'm Zach. You're here, we're here with my I don't know what I'm calling it. I'm just calling it my Bible study. Um where I just read through the Bible and it's not it's barely a commentary. I literally just say what I see and I don't go super in depth just based off my knowledge, and my goal is to just increase my knowledge of the Bible. Um, Obviously important to read the Bible every day, so I stream it to hold myself accountable. And hopefully you guys can stick along and learn something and go with um, hang with me on it. So welcome. Um, every single day I have a different snack, or that's what I'm trying to do. So today I have a unique one. I've got I think it's called a cookie sandwich. It's a fudge. There's a gas station near me that sells fudge, and it is a cookie sandwich fudge. Let's see if you can see that good. Um, Basically, just a big block of fudge. I'm gonna be honest. It it is this close, that close to being an 8 out of 10, but it has just a little too much. It's a little too sweet for me. So I'm going to rank it a 5 out of 10. Good fudge, but it's just a little too sweet for me. So it's hard for me to eat more than 2 bites. What I was going to do something. Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to manage my stream at the same time of doing this. It's a little fuzzy, and I can't tell if that's just my side or if it's actually like that. If it is, I'll fix it for next time. So yeah, we are just starting in Exodus. Yesterday, I went over not 50. I went over, I think it was 21 through 31, maybe, or 31 through 41. I don't remember. There's 10 chapters, and seeing sin in the world and how even the best Christians, um, they just they made a lot of mistakes, and it's not our goal as Christians to be perfect, but we strive for perfection, but that's just because we strive to be more like Jesus. So I did skip a lot. We have all of Joseph's story, which is super important, and so that's why I don't want to just rush over it. I want to take the time later and come back to it, but so that I stay on track with my Bible reading plan, I'm going to just go right into Exodus because that's what today's verses are. It's actually Exodus 1 through 5. So I'm going to be honest, this is so dumb. I was going to read it and then start streaming, but I just got distracted and I started streaming, forgetting that I didn't read it, but it is important. So today, special, I'm going to read it. So either you can pause, read it yourself and skip forward, or you can follow along with me. This is the NIV version, just kind of the standard version that my church uses. So that's what I am using right now. Use whatever version, well, not whatever version, but use whatever version you like. Okay. Genesis, no, I'm already off. This is Exodus. These are the names of the sons of Israel who went to Egypt with Jacob, each with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan and Naphtali; Gad and Asher. The descendants of Jacob numbered 70 in all. Joseph was already in Egypt. So if you didn't know, they sold Joseph into slavery. That was their brother. They sold him, so he was in Egypt, and they had to come to him. Now Joseph and all of his brothers and all that generation died. But the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They multiplied greatly, increased in numbers, and became so numerous that the land was filled with them. That's just a cool transition. It's obviously a big jump of years and years and years between Joseph and this time where they all went to Israel, and these Israelites just kind of exploded, and there was a lot of them. Then a new king whom Joseph meant nothing came to power in Egypt. If you didn't know, again, this would have been good to go through the story of Joseph, but Joseph was looked on very highly with the king in his time, and so Joseph had a lot of power. Even though he wasn't king, he had a lot of power. So now it's saying that so much time has passed that this new king didn't even care about Joseph. If it would have been passed down, it would have been like, hey, Joseph is a really good guy. But when Joseph died, it's like he meant nothing. Look, he said to his people, the Israelites have become far too numerous for us. Come, we must deal shrewdly with them, or they will become even more numerous, and if war breaks out, will join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the country. So they put slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor. And they built Pithom and Rameses. I don't know what that word is. I'm sorry. I don't know what either of those are. As store cities for Pharaoh. I assume like slave camps. That's what I assume. I could probably search it up. Maybe I should search it up just for fun, because I am curious. Okay. So they're actual cities that were used to store slaves, basically. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread. So the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites and worked them ruthlessly. They made their lives bitter with harsh labor in brick and mortar and with all kinds of work in the fields. In all their harsh labor, the Egyptians worked with them ruthlessly. Worked them ruthlessly. That makes a lot more sense. The king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, when you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on the delivery stool, if you see the baby as a boy, kill him, but if it's a girl, let her live. The midwives, however, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. Then the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, "Why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live?" The midwives answered Pharaoh, "Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwives arrive." So God was kind to the midwives, and the people increased and became even more numerous. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. That's pretty sweet. And Pharaoh gave this order to all the people: "Every Hebrew boy that is born you must throw into the Nile, but let every girl live." This is a super I don't like to use the word controversial. A lot of people look at this one and question God. Why did God allow them to kill so many babies? But the answer is it wasn't God. It was the sinful nature in Pharaoh. Pharaoh gave the order, and God is just and right. So I have no doubt in my mind that he saved all these babies and they are in heaven. Now, a man of the tribe of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and pitch. Then she placed a child in it and put it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to the Nile to bathe, and her attendants were walking along the river bank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her female slave to get it. She opened it and saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Hebrew babies," she said. Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?" "Yes, go," she answered. So the girl went and got the baby's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So the woman took the baby and nursed him. When the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." I just love the small detail that God allowed his mother to the girl got the baby's mother. She just allowed him to be with his mom. She allowed his mom to be with him. One day after Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were and watched them at their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. Looking this way and that, and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. The next day he went out and saw two Hebrews fighting. He asked the one in the wrong, "Why are you hitting your fellow Hebrew?" The man said, "Who made you ruler and judge over us? Are you thinking of killing me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid and thought, "What I did must have become known." When Pharaoh heard of this, he tried to kill Moses, but Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in Midian, where he sat down by a well. Now a priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water and fill the troughs to water their father's flock. Some shepherds came along and drove them away, but Moses got up and came to their rescue and watered their flock. When the girls returned to Reuel, their father, he asked them, Why have you returned so early?" They answered, "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. He even drew water for us and watered the flock." "And where is he?" Ruel asked his daughters. "Why did you leave him? Invite him to have something to eat." Moses agreed to stay with the ma- Moses agreed to stay with the man who gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage. Zipporah gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, saying, "I have become a foreigner in a foreign land." During that long period, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned in their slavery and cried out, and their cry for help because of the slavery went up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac and Jacob. So God looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. I'll just go one by one. So let's see if there's anything else in chapter 1. So this whole chapter just shows the opposition, the automatic opposition towards God and God's people. No matter what happens, even though God is perfect, I mean, obviously you have to believe that God is who he says he is to understand that, but knowing that he is God and he has the power to do anything, he is God, he's perfect. And just by multiplying these people, Pharaoh was not pleased with these people just because they were multiplying, right? And God kept blessing them, and they kept multiplying in this spiral, which then just led to the persecution of the Israelites, of God's chosen people, right? So there's always persecution. And then God brings up Moses, obviously. Seemingly this perfect story of like, oh, they were all supposed to die, but she saved a boy, and that boy grew up to free the slaves, and big picture, this cool story. But then we get this section where Abraham, I mean, sorry, I'm only going to do that a million times. Bear with me. Where Moses just flat out commits a murder. I could go back into the whole thing about Christians not being perfect, and he just murders this Egyptian, right? He tried to stick up for his Hebrew, and he killed the Egyptian and hid him. But what always happens is his mistakes become known, and the Hebrew knew, "Who made you ruler and judge over us? Are you thinking of killing me as you killed the Egyptian?" Like, just think, Moses thought that he was in the right here. He was like, "I'm standing up for my people, trying to settle disputes." But in his judgment over these people, he was called, excuse me, he was called out for his sin. And to be honest, this moment right here was probably a huge just mindset change for Moses. Thinking, probably humbling, like, oh, like, God knows what I did. People know what I did. Like, I gotta be more careful in the things that I do, right? God was always faithful. He kept Moses alive. And interesting. Moses just, it just says like, yeah, Moses was Moses ran, and then he actually got his little redemption shot. Um, he drove these people away, and uh, okay, it says the shepherds drove him away. Moses got up and watered their flock. Moses rescued these women, and he got his kind of hero moment, and in return he got a wife. Oh, and then we see. Don't be confused by this section right here, 23, 24, 25. Don't be confused by, oh, all of a sudden God heard their cry, and all of a sudden God remembered his covenant, and all of a sudden God was concerned about them. Don't look at it like that. Look at it in the tense of God is all knowing, and we know that for sure. He already knew, but in the human perspective, we're just bringing up that he remembered them. Like we're just it's the writer reminding the reader that God does remember him. He didn't just forget about them. Um, it's the writer telling the reader that their cry, that God heard them, right? God didn't just ignore them. Um, and it's the writer reminding the reader that God was concerned about them. It wasn't all of a sudden he remembered and was concerned. It was just, it's this reminder that, hey, God has a plan, and your cries don't go unnoticed. Because when you cry out to the Lord, specifically now we know that we have the Spirit crying out for us, it goes to God. So yeah, don't get confused by that. Certain people might say that's a controversy, like, oh, well, God's all knowing. How can he remember? But hopefully that made sense. Okay, I'm going to try to stop yawning and I'll read more. It got a little later than I wanted it to tonight. We'll rush through this. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that through the bush was on fire, though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. When the Lord saw that Moses had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. Oh, sorry. I was thinking about. Okay, I gotta finish this, then go over it. I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go, and I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" And God said, "I will be with you." Oh my gosh. And God said, "I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain." Moses said to God, "Suppose I go and take the Israelites and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?' Then what should I tell them?" God said to Moses, "I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites: 'I am has sent me to you.'" God also said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, 'The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. Go assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, 'The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt. And I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. The elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. After that he will let you go. And I will make the Egyptians favorably disposed towards this people, so that when you leave you will not go empty-handed. Every woman is to ask her neighbor and any woman living in her house for articles of silver and gold and for clothing, which you will put on your sons and daughters, and so you will plunder the Egyptians." Moses answered, "What if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, 'The Lord did not appear to you'?" Then the Lord said to him, "What is that in your hand?" "A staff," he replied. The Lord said, "Throw it on the ground." Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord said to him, "Reach out your hand and take it by the tail." So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake and it turned back into a staff in his hand. "This," said the Lord, "is so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has appeared to you." Then the Lord said, "Put your snake inside your cloak." This is probably so annoying to watch. I'm so sorry. I'm trying so hard not to yawn. So Moses put his hand into his cloak, and when he took it out, the skin was leprous, and it became as white as snow. "Now put it back into your cloak," he said. So Moses put his hand back into his cloak, and when he took it out, it was restored, like the rest of his flesh. Then the Lord said, "If they do not believe you or pay attention to the first sign, they may believe the second. But if they do not believe these 2 signs or listen to you, take some water from the Nile and pour it on the ground. The water you take from the river will become blood on the ground." Moses said to the Lord, "Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." The Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouth? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." But Moses said, "Pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else." The Lord's anger burned against Moses, And he said, "What about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you, and he will be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were your mouth and if you were God to him. But take this staff in your hands so you can perform the signs with it." Then Moses went back to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said to him, "Let me return to my own people in Egypt to see if any of them are still alive." Jethro said, "Go, and I wish you well." Now the Lord had said to Moses in Midian, "Go back to Egypt, for all those who wanted to kill you are dead." So Moses took his wife and sons and put them on a donkey and started back to Egypt, and he took the staff of God in his hand. The Lord said to Moses, "When you return to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do. But I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. Then say to Pharaoh, 'This is what the Lord says: Israel is my firstborn son, and I told you, let my son go and he may worship me. But you refuse to let him go, so I will kill your firstborn son.'" At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. Wait, what? Sorry, my mind just got so distracted. At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. But Zipporah took a flint knife, cut off her son's foreskin, and touched Moses' feet. "Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me," she said. So the Lord let him alone. At that time she said, "Bridegroom of blood," referring to circumcision. The Lord said to Aaron, "Go into the wilderness to meet Moses." So we met Moses at the mountain of God and kissed him. Then Moses told Aaron everything the Lord had sent him to say, and also about the signs he had commanded him to perform. Moses and Aaron brought together all the elders of the Israelites, and Aaron told them everything the Lord had said to Moses. He also performed signs before the people, and they believed. And when they heard that the Lord was concerned about them and had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshipped. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: Let my people go so that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness." Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." Then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, where he may strike us with plagues or with the sword." But the king of Egypt said, "Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to your work." Then the Pharaoh said, "Look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working." The same day Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and the overseers in charge of the people: "You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw, but require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. That is why they are crying out, 'Let us go and sacrifice to our God.' Make the work harder for the people so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies." Then the slave drivers and the overseers went out and said to the people, "This is what Pharaoh says: I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it. But your work will not be reduced at all." So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, "Complete the work required of you for each day, just as when you had straw." And Pharaoh's slave drivers beat the Israelite overseers they had appointed, demanding, "Why haven't you met your quota of brick yesterday or today as before?" Then the Israelite overseers went to appeal to Pharaoh. "Why have you treated your servants this way? Your servants are given no straw, yet we are told, 'Make bricks.' Your servants are being beaten, but the fault is with your own people." Pharaoh said, "Lazy, that's what you are, lazy. That is why you keep saying, 'Let us go and sacrifice to the Lord.' Now get back to work. You will not be given any straw, yet you must produce your full quota of bricks." The Israelite overseers seers realized they were in trouble, and when they were told, "You are not to reduce the oh, you are not to reduce the number of bricks required for you each day," when they left Pharaoh, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them, and they said, "May the Lord look on you and judge you. You have made us obnoxious to Pharaoh and his officials, and have put a sword in their hand to kill us." Moses returned to the Lord and said, "Why, Lord, have you brought trouble on this people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble on this people. You have not rescued your people at all." There's some hefty words spoken in these chapters. The way Moses speaks to God is kind of crazy. I'm going to be honest, the first thing he does is Moses hides his face because he was afraid to look at God. Why was he afraid? Well, who knows, but it could be him acknowledging his sin, like, "Oh no, I'm not worthy." And then God gives a pretty simple command. I mean, it's not simple. It's not simple at all. It's a huge, huge plan, but he says, "I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." It's like, "Okay, Moses, just go." And, we know that he will do the rest. But Moses, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites?" And God flat out says, "I will be with you." It's as straightforward as that. I will be with you. You can write that down for every single part of your life, right? We have so many questions towards God, but it's simply, "I will be with you." We have nothing to worry about. But Moses continues to go on and worry. Moses seems like a pretty worrisome guy. "Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, 'The God of your fathers,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?'" Now, I wish I could have done more studying before this, and I'll probably go back into this, but God said to Moses, "I am who I am." There's power in that name. God is I am. My brain's a little too tired to go into that right now. I wish it could. I need to do this earlier, but it's tough when sorry, not trying to make excuses. Anyway, um yeah, then the God is just like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And Abraham, not Abraham, not Abraham. Moses answers, what if they don't believe me? He's worried. He's so worried instead of just trusting that God's got it in his hands. But in God's faithfulness, he answers him. He gives him over and over again reasons and things um, to show him that God's got it under control. Um, then Moses said, pardon your servant. I've never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I'm slow of speech and tongue. I hear this so much. This resonates with me personally a lot. When I was younger, not even that much younger, 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, when I was in middle school, early high school, I was so introverted. I would rather talk to absolutely no one. I, not even that I didn't want to, I couldn't talk to anyone. Like, I was so introverted. I didn't know how to talk to people, yet alone read the Bible and tell other people about it, right? And if you would have asked me, I would have been like, oh, I can't, I'm slow of speech and tongue. But then, this is all by God. This is nothing of what I've done, because this is crazy. But all of a sudden, I don't even know what it was. It's like, really, I shouldn't have, like, this switch in my brain shouldn't have ever flipped. But all of a sudden, one day, it was just like, I started understanding the importance of my faith. It went from just like day by day to, oh, this is my life now. And specifically, God has been calling me for a long time to go to serve, specifically with like youth. He kind of just put me in that position. I didn't really know that I wanted to do that until I was there. But as I realized the importance of my faith and realized, like, I am to spread the gospel, it was this thought of, it was the opposite of this. Like, God, I know that I am slow of speech and tongue, but I know that I have to change, and I know that I can change. And it was just a step by step. And it went hand in hand with, I started actually working a job, right? I started just kind of life happening and realizing, like, oh, I actually have to talk to people in my life, right? So it was just this, like, day by day, step by step process of learning to talk better. And basically, I'm talking to you guys specifically, if you're watching this and you feel this way. In order to do this, it's a step of faith that you have to take that step and just put yourself out there. I actually watched this happen with my sister. My older sister, she went to college, and she was an introvert as well. Not quite as introverted as me. She did a good job, but all of a sudden she went to college and her personality flipped a lot. Not in a bad way, but she all of a sudden became this very extroverted. She's an elementary teacher, so she seemed like an elementary teacher, but she all of a sudden became super extroverted. Now that's like a little bit different example, but just showing like, hey, you can change how you speak, how you uh, think. You don't have to just be this introverted person who's bad at talking, right? But you have to take those steps. It's a huge step. I had to literally throw myself on stage. Not literally, but I'd just be like, I have to do this because this is the rest of my life. Specifically, okay, I don't exactly remember what it was, but I'll use my example for Bible study. I lead a junior high, well, not a junior high, I lead a boys' Bible study for youth. And when I started that, I had just, I think it was my first year. Yeah, I'm on my third year. It was my first. It was the end of my first year as a youth leader, and I hadn't really. I taught a little bit, um, but I was like, for some reason, God was calling me to start this Bible study, and I was very terrified. Now that at that point, I had been practicing, like just throwing myself out there a little bit, um, but I was terrified. But I knew if God was calling me to do this, I literally just had to throw myself into it. And this is what God says, okay? You throw yourself into it, not just throwing yourself into a pit of snakes, right? God says, who gave human beings their mouth? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. I've never felt and understood something so specific. Because the couple times that I've went in front of a big group, and I've never done like a huge speaking thing, but even just Bible study, but also like when I went on my mission trip, explaining that in front of the church and in front of uh, a large group of people was just like, it was basically, it felt like I blacked out the whole time because I have stage fright. I have actually pretty bad stage fright. Um, but it feels like I black out and I don't remember almost anything what I say. And every time people are like, "Oh no, you sounded fine up there," and it was like, that was not me at all. Like it's so obvious for me. Not all the time, but most of the time it's so obvious. Like I try my very best to remember to pray that like God speak through me because it's not like right now as I'm talking to you, it's like I'm not trying to talk to you through my words. I literally just open myself up and let the Spirit speak through me because it's not, I don't want to teach you. I want God to teach you through me, right? And I spend most of my life quiet because I want to be slow to speak. Because otherwise I could say some pretty dumb stuff. And then it comes to things like this, and I just let the Spirit open up in me. And I mess up. It's not like that makes me perfect. But this is not an excuse. I know the fear. Truly, I know the fear. Because so, I still am terrified of public speaking. I'm less scared now because I understand, but terrified of public speaking. And yet when I realized the importance of sharing my faith and doing God's plan, it's infinitely more important than my fear. And then in my fear, I realize, hey, who's in control here? Did God not give me my mouth? Does God not speak through me? Do I speak through my wisdom or do I speak through the wisdom of God? Right? So hopefully that can encourage you. Like I said, like this resonates with me so much because I hear this excuse so much. But if you truly are the Christian that you say you are, if you are truly a Christian, your job is to spread the gospel. And how do you do that? You do that through speaking. And that might be terrifying. And I tell you, I understand. But God. But we have God, right? God will help you and teach you what to say. So back to my Bible study example. I just threw myself in. And I had to just throw myself in because I didn't know what else to do. I had never been good at studying the Bible. Barely ever studied the Bible. And never taught. But that first time opening my Bible and realizing when I read this, I have to understand this. And I'm teaching this to students who need to hear the truth. And I threw myself in, and I'm not the smartest guy around. God speaks through me, and what happened is I learned more. Basically, I learn more in the Bible study than the students do. I have no doubt about that. Not because of anything that I'm doing. I swear. I swear I believe that. Not because of what I teach, not because of what I do or how I do it, but simply because the Spirit uses me. And sometimes I say something and I'm like, that was really good. Like, that was not me. That was God speaking through me. And sometimes the boys speak back to me and maybe humble me, maybe just say something super smart that's like, wow, like that was really good, right? Or just teaching me how to read the Bible and how to speak. God will teach you what to say. Write that on your heart. Remember that and memorize it. So important. The most important thing you're going to do in your life. think I'm going to stop the study there. Got a chapter and a half left. But we'll do a quick review tomorrow, and it keeps going here. Yeah, I think that was a good study. That was. I never mean for it to become a preaching lesson, but that's just kind of God puts that on my heart, and it just kind of spews out. So I guess that's kind of exactly what I was saying in action. That was the spirit in me, because I basically barely remember what I say. So hopefully it was good. I think it was good. And that's not just me trying to be humble either. I don't know. I'm also a little too tired tonight. I'll try to do it tomorrow. I should be able to do it earlier. I'll get rested up, and I'm just glad we're back on track. It feels good to be back on track. It feels refreshing. And the Lord has been teaching me so much through this study, and it's been awesome. It's been so awesome. Learning so much. Just about myself, about the Bible, about God. Yeah, it's awesome. But thank you for watching, and thanks for interacting with me and being with me through this study. And hope you have a good night. And hope to see you tomorrow. May God bless you.